The SACP in Metsimaholo Municipality in Northern Free State is confident of winning with the majority vote in today's by-election. Now, this is the first time in history that the South African Communist Party has stood alone in any election, breaking away from the tripartite alliance tradition. Well, for more on developments in Metsimaholo, we now cross to our reporter Aldrin Sampear. Aldrin, a very good afternoon to you. Won't you take us through what the voter turnout has been like since polling station opened this morning?
Well, yes, good afternoon. We are coming live to you from Sasolburg. This is where the rerun of the elections is taking place. Actually, where I'm standing is the MPLC office. This is where the political parties come and lodge some of their complaints and where some of the issues are being dealt with as well. Earlier on, I spoke to one of the officers who are leading the IEC on this rerun of the elections, and she said that things have been running smoothly. Besides the complaints that have been raised, for instance, by the SACP alleging that the votes are being rigged, as well as a complaint by the EFF. She says that no formal complaint has been made with the IEC at this point as it stands. But voting is continuing. I'm seeing that outside it's drizzling, and that's an issue that the IEC raised earlier on and said that they will have to try and make sure that all voters do cast their ballots. Of course, polling stations close around 9 o'clock this evening, but also indicating that when an electorate or voter arrives at the polling station at 9 o'clock or is on the queue at 9 o'clock, they'll be allowed to cast their ballot beyond 9 o'clock up until all the voting is done. And of course, then it will be time to do the telling and see who emerges victorious from this rerun of the elections. And one of those political parties that hope to emerge victorious is the EFF. And right now, I'm joined by the EFF's Mandisa. Mandisa, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Quite an interesting time indeed for the EFF, as the EFF has said that they hope that this will be the first municipality that they govern. Just quickly tell us firstly about the run of the elections. Do you think that things have been running smoothly? Yesterday, you also raised an issue around one of the presiding officers.
Despite those challenges that you have identified, but everything went well. But we do identify a lot of disturbance against the IEC. Then we also communicated with the IEC to resolve those matters. We are working very well with them, although we have a lot of complaints that we have raised with the IEC.
Just quickly take us through some of those complaints that you have lodged with them.
The presiding officer, for example, in Note 8 yesterday, he allowed a person to come to vote without ID or verification to check whether is that person appear on the ballot paper. Another person was given more than 3 ballot papers to do voting. Remember, this is an election that you need to have at least 2 ballot papers, not 3. So these are the issues that you have identified, and the IEC, we call them, they would launch our complaint. They came in interview, and the person was removed in that voting station.
And are you happy with the steps that the IEC has taken to ensure that these elections are free and fair?
We are not happy because that person was not fired to just removed to another voting station. We are worried because the same act that she did in that voting station, she can do to another voting station. But despite those things, we are saying, let's welcome the process of democracy. We hope this election will be free and fair. But we have identified those challenges that we have identified.
I wonder then, does this then lay the grounds for a formal complaint with the IEC that these elections were not run fairly, that the elections were not free and fair, considering that you say that this presiding officer has transgressed as per the rules of the IEC, but instead of being removed totally from the rerun of these elections, they were moved to another polling station?
Yes, but what we are saying, we say let the process of the election continue despite those challenges. We have launched our complaint, and we hope the IEC will deal with the matter.
You've also lodged a complaint with the police. Just tell us quickly about that case that has been opened. It's
the same matter that we have raised with the IEC. We went and opened a case because we have in the firm belief that whatever that person did, it need to be face the mighty of the law, because it was violating the constitution of the IEC and the constitution of the country.
But otherwise, besides these irregularities that you've identified, is the EFF still confident that it will emerge victorious out of these rerun elections?
The people of Metsimaholo are confident that they will do the right thing. They will vote the party of their choice. They rejected the ANC in 2016, and they hope they will do the same thing even today.
After what happened post the 2016 elections, will the EFF be a bit cautious now with regards to going into a voting bloc with whichever political party, considering what has happened with the MCA mayoral candidate who ended up defecting to the ANC?
We are contesting to win the election. We are not contesting to be in coalition with anyone. We never be in a coalition with anyone. We're supporting anything that is against the ANC. So we are contesting to win with majority in Metsimaholo. So we are not going to work as if we are going to be in a coalition with anyone. And we hope we'll do that. Exactly.
Well, thank you. We'll have to wait and see when those votes are tallied and the votes come out. That's Mandisa from the EFF. Let me just quickly bring in the DA's Arnold Deploy, who is the mayoral candidate. And of course, the DA, during the previous elections that were run here, the DA came in second just after the ANC. The ANC had 19 seats, I think, in the council, and the DA just came below that 19 seats. But the DA then constituted the coalition government that decided that the MCA candidate, Silo Hlasa, must be the mayoral candidate. Arnold, let's just first start with the processes of these elections as they've been going ahead. Do you think that the process have been fair, considering that you have these allegations that are being raised by the EFF? I wonder whether the DA has picked up the same errors or irregularities.
Aldrin, I must be honest with you that we have been working very well with the ISC today. Obviously, we also experienced glitches, but I think the ISC did their best to sort out the glitches. And also, there's going to be an operations center with all political parties and the ISC, as from 4 o'clock this afternoon, and that will expedite processes to solve problems. But from so far, I can really say that, minor glitches were there and it was sorted out timeously.
What are some of these minor glitches that the DA has picked up?
Well, opening of stations being late, material, the inking, also some of the issues on the voters' roll. We have picked up, for example, that there's a deceased person, but the deceased person is still on the voters' roll. So it's technical issues, and I know that they're working on it. They're also willing to give us a report at the 4 o'clock meeting on these glitches. So from the DI side, we are happy with that.
There were allegations that were raised by the SACP that the ANC had bussed in people from other areas to come and vote here. The IEC, we spoke to the IEC about this. The IEC said that it's not possible to rig the elections considering the protocol as well as the process that they have to go in with the issue around the ID as well as the voters' roll. From the DA side, have you picked up any of these where people are being bussed in, whether it be by the ANC, the SACP or whichever political party that's contesting these elections?
We have not, but we're totally aware of the allegations, but I don't know if there's any proof, Aldrin. So, I cannot confirm that. Thank you.
Let's speak about the results. Eventually, when the results come out, they will determine who is victorious, who gets the mandate from the people of Metsimaholo. Are there any lessons that were learned from the 2016 elections?
Definitely. We are in it to win it. And if it is so that we need to have a coalition, we will make very, very sure that we don't fall into the same trap of what happened the last time. It was a very, very expensive lesson for all of us and a very disappointing situation that emerged.
And yeah, for the DA, not only were you leading the coalition, but you also had a member of the mayoral committee that the DA had to expel from the DA itself as well.
We believe in clean governance, and if you make yourself guilty of any form of that, we will definitely make sure that you're out of the party, and that is exactly what happened. He was dispelled completely.
Okay, then perfect. Thank you so much. There you have it from Arnold Deploy with regards to these elections that are taking place here in Metsimaholo. So as I've indicated before, that the polling stations close at 9 o'clock. And I guess one thing that most people will be looking at is how does the SACP fare, because it is the first time that the SACP contest an election. And if there is, as Arnold has indicated, if there is a call rather and a mandate that comes from the people of Metsimaholo that there be a coalition government in terms of the votes that they've casted. Would the SACP be willing to go into a coalition party? The EFF said that they are in this by-election or this rerun of the elections with the intention to win. But of course, the possibility is still there if the 2016 result is anything to go by.
All right, Aldrin, before I let you go, we all know that all eyes are on the outcome of this election, especially since it's the first time in which the SACP is contesting outside the tripartite. But what does that mean for the future of the alliance, Aldrin?
Indeed. The strange thing was that earlier on, when I did the crossing with Natasha, I think it was during the 1 o'clock bulletin, we had the SACP's Philip Kganyago, who raised these allegations around vote rigging, and I asked him who did he think is behind this vote rigging. He couldn't say exactly who he believed it is, but one can only assume who they think is behind the vote rigging. Immediately after that, the spokesperson of the ANC wanted the right of reply and wanted to respond to these allegations, and they both said that these allegations must be tested in a court of law. But the strange thing is, though, that you have the ANC that said that it still has confidence in the IEC, that it still has confidence in the processes being led by the IEC, while on the other side you have the SACP that is raising these allegations of vote rigging, that the IEC is not following the proper processes and so forth. So you have alliance partners, these two alliance partners whose relationship date back many, many decades, and now they sit and they make allegations, or rather counter allegations and counter allegations. What does this mean for the relationship of the ANC? What does this mean for the relations within the alliance? And what does this mean heading forward? You know that the ANC heads to its elective conference as well. And some have been saying that what the SACP is doing in trying to running for these elections is that they want to test their popularity and probably dangle a carrot in front of the ANC with the possibility of a coalition government in 2019, and saying that we as the SACP are a force to be reckoned with. But when you speak to the EFF, for instance, the EFF will make the argument and say that the SACP is merely contesting these elections because they want to be part of the ANC. Eventually, when there should be a coalition government, they will give their votes to the ANC. And when it happens after the ANC's elective conference that Cyril Ramaphosa emerges victorious, it will be the SACP that turns its back against the coalition.
All right, that's our reporter Aldrin Sampear coming to us live from the Metsimaholo Municipality, where the rerun of the by-elections have been taking place throughout the day. And of course, voting stations will be closed later on this evening.